time it is. Marvin Devine, Huber, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice, yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Fuck it, what they doing, keep on doing. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, XL, and Huber, way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah.
Brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Cody's brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. Cody's brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta ride or die.
All right, all right. I think I'm mic'd up, you guys. Apologize for any confusion there. Hey, this is Coach LaMonte again, your advocate, your warrior with Redefine Renal Disease. Apologize for the little issues we had, but we're talking about redefine renal disease. What does that mean? It means to redefine, renew, and bring new meaning to renal disease. Often we allow our current situation, whether we're on dialysis, post transplant, even the world, society, to define what we're going through. And I'm asking you to redefine it. How do you redefine it? To renew your mind, renew your knowledge, renew your thinking about what you're going through. And when we do that, we can bring new meaning to. You determine the meaning that you have in your battle, in your struggle, in your challenge against renal disease. And that's what I did in my life. That's what I did. I learned to redefine, renew, and bring new meaning to my struggle, to my challenge as I battled and warred as a kidney dialysis and a post transplant patient. And I'm still doing that today. That's why I'm on to encourage you guys to share my story, but also give you some tips today on how to pivot and move forward. Okay, it's very important and valuable in this time to pivot and move forward. Look, Mike Tyson said this: everybody has a plan until they get hit in the mouth. Right? When they get hit in the mouth, when you get hit in the mouth, our plans, our goals, whatever happens, we begin to panic, right? We begin to really become worried and full of anxiety. I use this boxing analogy because that's what happens when they get hit in the mouth. Plans go out the window, and I understand that. Look, when we first crashed into dialysis, we got hit in the mouth. Okay, but even now, think about this: this pandemic. This pandemic has hit us in the mouth, right? It's collapsed some of us, it's buckled us, put us on the roof, I put us on the ropes, right? And we've been fighting and fighting. And look, it's not your fault, okay? No one was prepared for this fight. No one was ready for this battle. In boxing, they call it being blindsided, okay? Or getting hit, what they call an overhand right. You just wasn't prepared. You wasn't looking for it. And so you get hit. And when you get hit, often you get disheartened, you get discouraged, and you get a little hopeless. So I'm here to try to give you some tips since we got hit in the mouth, in fact, twice. We got hit in the mouth the first time when we went on dialysis. Now we're getting hit in the mouth because of this pandemic. And some of us have been hit in the mouth for various lot of reasons. Maybe you had rejection. Maybe the medication is not working. Maybe finances are not working. It doesn't matter what it is that hit you in the mouth, that maybe caught you off guard, that floored you, that's disheartened you, that caused you to hopelessness. I'm here to help you to redefine, to renew, and bring new meaning to the situation. So how do we do this? Look, when we first get hit in the mouth or when we get faced with a challenge, one of the first things I learned, even in boxing, that I even relate to my life, and I continue to do this when I'm coaching clients, is just to take a moment to breathe. Right? Boxing, I always saying, just breathe. Inhale, exhale, breathe, breathe. Sometimes we're panicking, we're feeling anxiety, hyperventilate, right? Because you're not breathing. So learn to just breathe. Yes, you've been rocked. Yes, you've been shaken. Take a moment just to take some deep breaths. That's why they give you a 10 count, right? Now, sometimes we need a 10 count, a 20 count. Sometimes we need a 24-hour count, right? Just to gain your bearing, just to get the cobwebs out, okay? So breathing is very important, it's very vital. What breathing does is helps you to relax. Breathing brings oxygen back to the brain. Breathing brings stability back to the mind because when you have breathing, you have oxygen, you have stability, then your mind, you're able to think better. When COVID hit us, when we've been on dialysis, often our mental state is not clarity. Often our emotions get in the way and we're all over the place. Often these are things that causes us to panic. So when you begin to breathe, when you begin to take some time out, when you begin to just slow down and think it through, when you begin to meditate, one of the things I learned is to meditate. Meditation is nothing more than taking some time out to hear yourself think, to reflect. Also in meditation, what I do affirmations. I do positive affirmations while I'm meditating. I begin to look at my situation. I begin to look at who I am. And I begin to affirm myself that's saying, hey, you're strong, you're powerful, you're smart. In fact, you're a man of God. You have faith, okay? You trust. You're not alone. You are able. You're more than able. You're more than enough to make it through. And I begin to say those things over and over, and I begin to believe it. I begin to think it through, and then I sit there and I do some mental imagery. What does that mean? I begin to imagine myself feeling better, imagining myself being better. I begin to imagine what my life would look like being healthy, what my life would look like even in the dialysis chair. I begin to envision those things, and hey, my blood pressure is down. I'm feeling good. My heart rate's down. I begin to envision those things. I begin to see it. I begin to dream it, right? So when you begin to dream without a vision, the people perish. You got to have a better vision of yourself, a better vision of the story, a better vision of your life when we're going through this. Maybe right now it might not appear to be that way, but you got to envision it. You got to see it in your mind's eye. You got to see down the road. You got to say, look, one day I'm going to get a transplant. One day I'm going to get past this. One day this is not going to be like this all the time. I will not always be in this condition. I will not always have high blood pressure. I will not always be dehydrated. I will not always have to sit in this chair. Think down the road by meditating, by creating that mental imagery, by creating that vision, and just begin to breathe and then begin to soak it up, begin to absorb it, begin to really truly believe by faith. So, one of the first things I said again into pivoting when we get hit in the mouth is to really be able to breathe, to meditate, and to create mental images and also have affirmations. Okay. Second thing I want you to think about in pivoting is this: pivoting helps you to reposition where you are. Okay. You have to reset your position. In boxing, when we pivoted, we realized that we got a hit in the mouth. We say, I can't go back into the ring. I cannot go back into the world. I can't go back to where I used to be if I'm going to change my situation. I can't think the same way. I can't practice the same things I've been practicing. I can't have the same patterns in which I was doing before if I'm going to pivot. So pivot say I need to reset in this battle, in this fight, and do something different. Try some different steps. Try something you haven't done before. Try, if you're having a challenge with eating, if you're having a challenge with even the medicine, try to just comply. Try to do what's asked of you. If you're having a hard time with eating, try to do the things that you need to do with the eating. If it's sugar, say, hey, you know what? I'm going to minimize my sugar intake. I've been eating sugar every day. Why? Because I don't care, right? But now I've been hitting the mouth. So let me say, hey, I'm going to eat it 2 times a week instead of every day. Okay. If you're doing things that you know is not working for you, haven't been working, the pivot means I need to reset. It also means I need to get out of my own way. Sometimes we're our worst enemies. Sometimes we get in our own way. It's not always the technician, the doctor, it's us. So, in order to pivot, we have to get out of our own way. We can't keep stepping on our own feet and shooting ourselves in our own foot. Okay. So as you pivot, okay, you get another opportunity to reposition and get out of your own way. Okay. Also, the second thing is when you pivot, pivoting is about an angle. Okay. Before you was coming straight in. Okay. Often boxers come straight in. They call it bulldozing, bulldogging, right? They just come straight forward, right? But then you get hit in the mouth and you realize, man, I can't keep coming straight in like this. I need to come at a different angle, right? So part of pivoting in this dialysis challenge and its pandemic challenge is creating a different angle, a different lane. What can you do that's different? What type of angle? How can you look at this from a different perspective and better proceed forward in the situation? Okay, that's a different angle. That's a different view. How do I create different angles? Often we get different angles from learning from other people who's been in fights like us. Okay, one of the things I did to create a different angle in this pandemic, right, is I begin to learn from others. Okay. You know, social media became a great thing. I began to do things, first of all, for my business, is to go online and do Zoom calls. Okay. For my health, well, how did I pivot? I began to get a lot more structured because I wasn't out and about a lot. I wasn't traveling a lot. I know things are trying to getting back what we may think is normal, but it's not normal then. So when you pivot, try to get more structure. How do I get more structure? Plan. How do I get more structure? Get a book. Get a calendar and be able to, we call chunking. Write some different chunks in your schedule to do things for yourself to change. Okay. In one chunk, it may be I'm going to read a book in one chunk. In another chunk, I'm going to meditate. In another chunk, I'm going to meal prep. I'm going to spend that time meal prepping. Do whatever you need to do that you haven't done before. If you wasn't meal prepping before, try prepping. If you haven't had a schedule before that's structured to help you do the things that you desire or to help you do different things, schedule things out in chunks. Okay. Set your timer, okay, to do various things so you can remember what you need to do. We set timers for our pills. I know I do. I still have my pills that are on a timer, an alarm. Okay. It sounds off. Okay. So start creating an alarm system if you're going to change your eating and say, hey, I need to eat at this time. I need to do this at this time. Whatever it is, structure allows us to have balance. Balance, they call it homeostasis, they call it equilibrium. We need to have that balance. Okay. Track your water intake. Okay. If you haven't been doing that before, track it, whether it's post transplant or whether it's transplant. We got to be able to do some things that is concrete. Okay, that helps us to get stability. Because if we're not coming at a different angle, we're going to do the same thing that we did before. If we do the same thing we did before, then we didn't pivot. And you guys heard that saying that if we try to do the same thing over and over to get a different result, we know that they say that's insanity. And I don't believe anybody out there is insane. What happens is we just get so overwhelmed. We get so tired, we get so exhausted, and we want to give up, right? And this is not the time to throw in a towel. This is the time to say, hey, let me just make some small changes. Let me just make some small jumps, but let me schedule this and making these changes. Look, many of you out there, I honestly believe what you're experiencing, you could write a book. There's not a whole lot of books out there. Steve wrote a book. There's others writing books. Do something that you haven't. Start an e-commerce business online if you're having a struggle with even the finances. There's so many people that's making money just selling t-shirts, selling coffee cups. Whatever it is that you need most, try something different to pivot and do it different. If it's your phosphorus, if it's your potassium is up, go back to the drawing board, structure, make sure that everything you eat, how about this for a change? How about you write down every single thing you eat and journal that throughout the day? If you've never done that while being on dialysis, if you've never done that and post transplant, I would encourage you to get a book, a folder, and begin to journal every single thing you eat. If you haven't, that's a way of pivoting. If you haven't done that, what happens is we call it shooting in the dark. When you're not keeping track of what you're eating or what you're doing on a daily concerning your life, whether it be finances, whether it be eating, we call that shooting in the dark. And when you shooting in the dark, you can't see anything. And when you can't see, you can't hit your goals, you can't hit your target. So if you write it down, when you begin to have challenges saying, why is my blood pressure is up? Why is my phosphorus too high? Why is my potassium too high? Why are these things going on? You have nothing before you to troubleshoot to say what's the problem because you shoot in the dark. But if you write it all down, you'll know, oh, I ate this, I ate this, I ate that. In fact, my sodium was too high. How do you know your sodium was too high? Because you tracked it. If you're not working, even if you're working, it has to be so important enough that you take the time. Somebody say, well, who has the time to do that? I had the time to do it. Others who had the time. I had the time to do it. You know why? Because I made the time. Why did I make the time? For the simple fact, I wanted to feel better. Period. I don't have to go into anything deep, extravagant. It's the simple fact that I wanted to feel better. And me feeling better had became such a priority, it became so important, it began to have so much value to me that I did what was necessary to do just to feel better, not to always feel weak, not to always feel drained, not to always getting my labs back and having not so good labs. Okay, so you make time to do the things that you need to do. Okay, and then lastly, okay, when we pivot, um, you have to look at getting support. Okay, one of the last things from pivoting is support. And I know we have support, from family. Some of us may not have support, but try this. Try to get support from a different avenue. Try to get support from a different person, from a different community, from a different group. How about joining a different group that may not even relate to dialysis or chronic disease? Maybe it's just a motivational group where you are around people who are learning what techniques to do to be motivated. Maybe it's a group who's dealing with resilience, okay, how to handle adversity, okay, because all these concepts, all these principles will apply to our life. It doesn't always have to be in a dialysis group. Now, we know that we can relate to people more and have empathy, but look, I've read different books that were non-dialysis related books, that were non-kidney health books, okay, that brought so much value, like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective and Successful People by Stephen Covey. Okay, I've read that book. I continue to read it. Why? Because it brings value to my life. These are the very principles I've used to help me change and pivot. So different books, different groups, different individuals um, can help you. Listen to Les Brown. Anybody is a fan of Les Brown? Listen to Les Brown. Okay, there's people out there who's looking to motivate and encourage. Um, E.T. Okay, Eric Thomas is a guy that I listen to. Very motivating. Helps me to be able to get motivated. There's Facebook groups, okay, that people are doing different things. I know some of you guys heard of Tony Robbins. There's so many different people, so many different groups that are non-kidney related that brings about a sense of support that will help motivate you and help you believe in yourself, to help you to pivot. And even there's groups that are about cancer. Okay, I've um I've coached a cancer patient who had severe cancer, and just to see what she was going through the things that she was experiencing, wow, it motivated me, encouraged me. Did I have cancer? No, but we had a like struggle. See, here's the thing: we have a like struggle with a lot of people on this planet. You know what the like struggle is? It's pain, it's suffering. See, pain and suffering brings the human experience together. Pain and suffering brings the community of human beings together. And there are so many other people in different uh, groups and spaces that are suffering, not from chronic kidney disease, but from other places. And we can learn from them too. So I wanted to share those 3 things that help us how to pivot and move forward, how to do something different so we can move forward. And, I don't know who's out there listening right now, but in closing, I want you to know that I'm always available. I want you to know that you can message me on Facebook. I want you to know that you can email me, you can text me. If you message me, I'll give you my email. I'll give you my number. I'll reach out to you because this is what I do for a living. This is what I was doing before dialysis. This is what I was doing before transplant. This is what I was doing before the pandemic. I've been motivating, inspiring, and coaching people for almost 20 years. And that was one of the reasons that helped me get through dialysis, get through my transplant experience a little better. Those are things that helped me to move forward because I already had concepts. I already had a system that I was already operating in, okay? And then I began being able to apply that to my life. And so I want to be able to teach, encourage, motivate my community, my warriors, those who are going through like-minded struggles on some of the things that I did. As I mentioned in the beginning, I meditated, okay? I used mental imagery, okay? I had affirmations, okay? I changed my perspective. I had a different angle, a different avenue. When I pivoted, I stopped, okay, shooting myself in the own foot, which is number 2. I got out of my own way. Sometimes we got to get out of our own way. That was the second thing. And the last thing was to create a better sense of community outside of the community that we're even in today. Reach out for other people, different groups, people who are experiencing chronic disease in different areas, okay? Listen to motivational speakers, listen to other people who deal with personal development, and read books to be able to help you pivot, okay? So I'm thankful for being able to be on this short time today. It was great being able to speak to you guys, the warriors out there, those who are battling just like me. As you guys know, I keep my hat on because I'm always encouraging people to keep your head up, keep looking up, stay positive, encourage yourself. If no one else is in your corner, become your best cheerleader. If no one is cheering you on, you have to keep your focus. You have to keep your mind. You are the one that have to redefine, renew, and bring new meaning to your life. If no one else is doing it, if no one else is helping you, you have to do it. Hey guys, this is Coach LaMonte, your advocate, your kidney warrior. Thank you for being on today. You guys have a great rest of your Saturday, wherever you are, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. Continue to redefine renal disease so you can live a life of fulfillment. Hey, this is Coach LaMonte. You guys have a great one, and I'm out of here. Thank you.
Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Cold, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. Cold, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta ride or die.